When electricity goes out in winter, politics fades. Heat becomes currency, light becomes security, and daily life turns into a test of endurance. This is not a battlefield. There are no front lines here. Yet the war is still present in stairwells, courtyards, and dark apartments. Today, we are not asking who is right or wrong. We are asking something simpler. What happens to civilians when infrastructure becomes fragile? In several districts of Kyiv, electricity and heating have been disrupted. Temperatures drop, buildings cool fast. In response, local authorities opened temporary heating and food points inside residential courtyards and shared spaces. Officially, these points serve one purpose: to provide warmth, basic meals, and a place to wait. This is not unusual in winter conflict conditions. Similar measures have been used across Europe during extreme weather and infrastructure stress. What makes this moment different is context. Energy infrastructure is already under pressure. Repairs take time, demand peaks. And winter does not pause for logistics. For civilians, the situation is not about strategy. It is about staying warm, charging a phone, cooking something simple. Yet once these aid points appeared, a second story began to circulate online. A story that shifts the focus away from infrastructure and towards something far more controversial. Kyiv is not a frontline city, but it is a strategic city. Recent strikes have not aimed at territorial control. They have aimed at systems, energy nodes, substations, distribution lines. The objective is indirect, pressure without occupation. When a strike disables electricity, the effect is delayed but widespread. Elevators stop, heating fails, water pressure drops. The battlefield expands into civilian routine. For residents, this does not feel like a military event. It feels like uncertainty. Nights become longer, movement becomes cautious, planning becomes daily survival. These strikes are not about immediate collapse. They are about endurance. How long can a city function when comfort disappears? How quickly can repairs outpace disruption? In this context, heating points are not signs of weakness. They are signs of adaptation. But adaptation under pressure always carries cost. Social, psychological, political. Shortly after these heating points were opened, new claims began circulating online. Some posts allege that personnel from recruitment offices were present at these locations. According to these claims, civilians seeking warmth were also subject to identity checks and pressure. These accounts spread quickly, often without images, often without timestamps, often without independent confirmation. Ukrainian authorities have denied systematic abuse at these sites. No official policy links humanitarian aid points to forced recruitment. At the same time, open-source verification remains limited. Access is restricted, conditions change rapidly, and winter complicates documentation. What can be confirmed is this. In wartime cities, civilian spaces increasingly overlap with security concerns. Aid, administration, and enforcement do not always remain clearly separated. This does not automatically validate every claim, but it explains why distrust grows so easily under stress. In the absence of reliable power, clarity also disappears. And in that vacuum, narratives travel faster than facts. Modern war rarely separates civilians from systems, power grids, heating networks, communications. These are not just services. They are stabilizers of daily life. When electricity fails, the impact is immediate, not on the front line, but inside homes. For military planners, infrastructure pressure reshapes behavior. Movement patterns change. Crowds concentrate around aid points. Information becomes centralized. This does not mean civilians are targets, but it does mean civilian spaces gain strategic relevance. In Kyiv, heating points became more than relief locations. They became points of visibility. Visibility creates tension, tension creates stories. And in a conflict defined by information dominance, even humanitarian measures are interpreted through a strategic lens. This is not unique to Ukraine. Similar dynamics have appeared in conflicts from the Balkans to the Middle East. The difference lies in scale. And in winter, scale multiplies pressure. What we are seeing in Kyiv is not a collapse. It is a test of systems, a test of endurance, a test of how civilian life adapts under prolonged pressure. The war is not only measured by territory gained or lost, it is measured by routines disrupted, by nights without light, by winters without certainty. Heating points, power outages, and urban strikes are not isolated events. They are connected parts of a wider conflict environment. Understanding this does not require choosing a side. It requires clarity. Clarity about how modern war reaches cities far from the front. Clarity about how civilians experience conflict differently from soldiers. This video is not intended to justify actions or assign blame. It is intended to observe, analyze, and explain. All information presented here is based on open sources and independent analysis. Viewers are encouraged to question, to verify, and to think critically. Because in conflicts defined by noise, clear thinking becomes a form of resilience. Thank you for watching. This is TRX Update.